I just helped one of my athletes, and I thought I would share this with everyone. This is about turning it around when you feel like you're going to choke. Years ago, my brother and a friend of ours, they were in the Goodwill Games finals, and they told me this story. They were getting ready to walk out on the mat and compete against the Russians in front of, you know, I don't know, 30,000 people. Plus it was on TV, you know, and streamed in many different countries, Iran, you name it. And they said, man, I feel like I'm going to choke. And this other guy's like, yeah, me too. I don't feel good, you know? And then they kind of like just talked themselves out of it, and they both went out there and won. I know another guy who was a 4-time All-American and was an Olympic alternate twice. And I used to compete against him a lot in college. And what he said was, I asked him one time, I did camps years ago, and I invited him to come and be one of our instructors. Well, I still do camps, but it's more system-based and not just random guest instructors. The way we do it now is much more productive, I think. But anyway, so I was like, how come you're always so consistent? You're one of the most consistent wrestlers I've ever wrestled against. And I've watched you, you know, since we were in middle school. And, you know, now you're a 27-year-old man, and, you know, he just retired or whatever, and, you know, was a 4-time Division I All-American, and that's very difficult to do. And went on to make the Olympic trials finals twice. He goes, you know what I do, Nick? It's very simple. He's like, I get scared like anyone. He goes, but I just take some time thinking about the match and thinking about the excitement that, you know, what I'm getting myself into, and how I'm going to love going out there and competing, and how, you know, my opponent might push and hit me, and I'm going to push and hit him back. And my parents are in the stands, and my mom's all nervous, and I want to be able to come through. And I think about how exciting it's going to be for them when I accomplish my goal and I win this big match. He goes, you know what? He goes, and within about 30 seconds, I couldn't wait to get on that wrestling mat. I was excited to get on the mat. And I went from being scared to I couldn't wait to run up that stage and get on that mat and compete in front of everybody. I think that that's important, that we realize that we're in control of our own emotional states. We can control those. Usually we just passively use our eyeballs and we observe our surroundings. Maybe it's a really tough opponent. Maybe you watch your really tough opponent compete and you get psyched out. I mean, I don't know. And then what you absorb through your eyes, you allow that to affect your emotions without any interruption. You shouldn't do that. You should interrupt. It's called self-awareness. Be aware of your thoughts and say, I got to change these thoughts, because you can change these thoughts. There's another good trick, is just using music. I had a coach and a teacher in middle school, and he said we had to diagnose this phrase, music is not fair. And the whole thing was, that's some phrase someone came up with. I don't know if it's famous or not, but anybody in your surroundings can put on music that you didn't even want to listen to, but it changes your emotions. Music's not fair. It changes your emotions whether you want it to or not. So we like to encourage our athletes who maybe have a hard time getting mentally prepared for matches, or turning off their thoughts, or getting the competitive juices flowing, to use music. Then during the day, you might use soothing music. You know, you want to escape the gym, you might get earplugs, and have someone know where you're sleeping. Go take a nap for an hour. If you want to learn to turn completely off and turn completely on, and, you know, all of these things, you know, just trust your body. But music is a great way to improve your emotional state. I remember when I was growing up, I never listened to music. I thought it was a sign of weakness, right? And I guess one time I did in junior nationals, which used to be called Fargo. I had this really good wrestler named Sam Dollyhigh. He beat my brother in the finals of Greco, and I had him like second round in freestyle, and I was listening to music, and I got so amped up. I went out there and I did win, but I wrestled so stupid, you know? And so I put that down. I never experimented, right? I always just went back into my rut, which was probably not a bad rut. I had a pretty successful career, but, you know, and so that was the only time I really experimented, but I always thought it was a sign of weakness. And at that desperate moment, I decided to try it. But then when I got into college, I remember going to the U.S. Opens a few times and watching Dave Schultz and Mark Schultz warm up, and they were listening to music. And I thought, oh, it's okay. It's okay if the great Dave Schultz listens to music, it's okay. I still never did, because it was just something I grew up not doing. But looking back, I think it's something I should have experimented with more. And now I always notice that when I watch the Olympics, you know, the swimmers and even the gymnasts, certainly some wrestlers, some people use music. So that's a great tool to help you to change your emotional state. So if you just want to unchoke and turn it around, learn to change your emotional state by choosing the thoughts that create that excited energy, and also using music. So good luck. Check us out at PurlerWrestling.com. We're just getting ready to launch the world's first online wrestling academy. It's going to be freaking mind-blowing.